Hello! Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, and should World Rugby match officials be disciplined? Now that was the title, or is the title, of a video by G-Man, or Gareth Mason, who is a rugby YouTuber and inspirational person out of South Africa. And he put a video out about that, and I will try and put a link up there if I can. If not, there is a link to his video down below in the notes. So he goes on and has a quick chat about should World Rugby match officials be disciplined, and I thought that I needed to have a response to that and talk through some of the points and give my opinion on these sort of things. Gareth is someone who I have a lot of respect for. So the first off thing I think we need to be careful about, and that's just is in that title there, is that should World Rugby match officials be disciplined? We're talking about the professional level of referees here. We've got to remember that rugby doesn't happen without referees. We absolutely need them. Without them, there is no game for us to watch or play. And that's kind of a key piece there, is or play, because we've got to remember the law of unintended consequences. That how we treat our professional referees, how they get treated at that level, will filter down and will impact how our volunteer referees in the club game, in the community game, gets treated as well. And so I think it's very important that we remain respectful to the top level referees and don't allow any dissent on the pitch. Now, this is not really what Gareth is talking about. He's talking about how we treat them off the pitch and how they get reviewed. And one of those situations that I think was badly handled by World Rugby was the Australia-Scotland quarterfinal, where the referee there was thrown under the bus afterwards, and there was a public response to one of his call to his call at the end of the game, and that's what I think we need to be careful of here. Is when we're talking about disciplining the referees, are we talking about doing it in public or are we talking about doing it in private? And one of the things that Gareth said was that there needs to be a review of referees' performances during games, and there is. The following day, or within the next couple of days, the referee will watch back the entire game, put their comments. A referee assessor will go through, put also their comments, and that all goes onto an app, and they get to see those responses. And I think they have a discussion every week around their performances in a game, and I think they also get together on a fairly regular basis as well. So those reviews do happen, but they don't happen in the public eye. Now, let's be honest. Would you want your annual review or performance review by your boss being in the public eye and being on the front page of newspapers? Not really, personally. We all have areas to develop on. We all have areas to improve on. We don't see players having their performances fully, their private reviews and the performance of how they've played during a game be made public. If they severely break a law, then sure, they go for disciplinary board, and that gets discussed. But that's just one incident or during a game. Where they've broken the law. We don't go through and say, oh, this person dropped the ball this many times, this person did that, this person chose the wrong option this many times. That's all not put into the public domain as to how a player performs. Sure, the pundits can have a look at it and have an opinion of how a player's done and what they've actually done, and whether they've done what the game plan said they should have done. But we don't know what the game plan is, and we don't get to see their personal reviews by the coaches. And I don't think we should have public hangings of the referees either. I do believe that some extra transparency and some ability for the referees to provide feedback to the public should be there, just like coaches can and do comment on how players have played or around certain. I think that referees within a certain perhaps not in a public sort of being questioned by a pundit, because they will dig and look for sensational headlines. But I wouldn't mind for referees to come out and explain some of their decisions as to why certain things happen, because pundits don't know the laws that well and get things wrong, as we've heard plenty of times on commentary. So it would be interesting. So I think that a channel for that to come out would be good, and a bit more transparency around refereeing decisions, so that we learn more about the laws. But I don't think that we should publicly have performance reviews of referees in public. Now, and one of Gareth's points in is, are they disciplined? Do they get more? Do they? How do they get sort of allocated after that? Now, again, when a player plays badly, we'll talk about another player being given an opportunity, or we'll be talking about them being rested or rotated. We don't talk about occasionally we'll talk about players being dropped, but we don't. They're not being disciplined for dropping balls. They're not being or having a bad performance. And I think similarly with referees, that there will be allocations of games done on performance of referees, and they will get more. The referees that are doing better will get the bigger games. Hence, we see Nigel Owens and Wayne Barnes refereeing some of the top games because they're two of the top referees. And over the years, their performance reviews have shown that they are top referees. So, for that point of view, again, the allocation of referees will be done on their performances, and whether they get re-signed up to the world sort of body or group of referees to be selected from for international games will again be done partially on their performances, and then also there is also unfortunately the political side of having referees from different countries. So if South Africa or England were, say, had the best 6 referees in the world, not all 6 referees could be on that global team, because you can only have so many from each country. So from that point of view, there is a political side to it, necessary to remain at least the impartiality and stuff. So personally, I do think that there are reviews. I do think that the referees do get performance reviews. I think disciplined is perhaps too harsh, but I do think they do need those performance reviews, and they do get them, which is good. And there is a feedback loop for the coaches to provide feedback to the referee associations. Now, perhaps that feedback coming back to the coaches isn't enough, because we see them getting frustrated a lot of the time, but maybe there's better communication behind the scenes that we need. I really do not believe in public disciplining of referees, unless it is something absolutely stupid like hit a player, for example. But you never see that happen. Referees make a lot less mistakes than players on the whole, but we don't. We don't hang them out to dry. We don't go through and detail every single player's every single error during a game like we do by their coaches. So I don't see why we should be doing that for the referees either. One of the games he does call out is that New Zealand-South Africa game. And it was kind of interesting that during the game, a lot of South African people on Twitter were saying how the refereeing was poor. And then at the end of the game, we had a New Zealand paper coming out and calling out at least one call that was against New Zealand as well. We had both sides complaining about the referees to a greater or lesser degree. To my mind, yes, that unfortunately is continually happening. I try and keep it positive on here rather than blaming referees, and do like to support them. But in conclusion, yes, they do need to have reviews. Yes, they do happen. Yes, they should be selected on their performances, but they do need the opportunities to grow and to improve. That if you never get exposure to a top level game, you're never going to be able to handle a top level game. So there does need to be exposure, but it has to be done properly. And they should be selected on their performances. So there you go. That's my thoughts. Thank you, Gareth, for your thoughts on that one. So go check out his video. It's a link down below, and I'll try and put a link up here, as I said before. Also, let me know your thoughts on whether we should be disciplining referees and how we should be disciplining referees in the comments down below. and I'll be back tonight with my predictions and also the All Blacks edition. So do join me then.